and you know, the guy who has survived all this is in that same town is Helton at USC, who has been fired every year, frankly, by the fan base and by the media, and is hung on. Now, do you remember anybody that had look? I mean, seriously, it was at least 3 years ago that everybody thought he was gone, that he would be fired. But I give him a lot of credit. I mean, you know, are they great? No, but they could make some noise this year. Frankly, got one of the better quarterbacks anywhere at this point. But you're right, that those are two teams in that conference, and I know we've chased a bit of a rabbit here off the SEC. That at the same time, it would be nice to see them play well again.
USC seems to be one of those places, Brent, that of course the traditions is as good as anywhere in the country. And so there's a pressure to win, but it's not SEC pressure. So there's a pressure to win and there's an expectation to win. And of course, the standard built by the John McKays and John Robinsons is high. But as long as they're not completely cutthroat to the point that if you go 8-4, they're not going to be happy. The fan base isn't going to be happy, but are they going to pull the plug on you? As long as you don't rock the boat and don't do anything stupid off the field, and you're going 8-4, and maybe you jump out and go to a Rose Bowl like Clay Helton did about 5 years ago, and he did win the conference about 4 years ago in 2017, that he's doing just enough to keep the job.
Yeah. And I think you hit on it a minute ago. Part of the problem is there are a lot of other schools who are going in there and cherry picking their best athletes. I mean, Bryce Young of Alabama, the quarterback, where is he from? Well, he's from California. So you see a lot of that. Najee Harris was from California. So a lot of they're losing a lot of those guys. My question is, Mark, when will they be able to keep that group more at home instead of them going to the Alabamas, Clemsons, and Ohio States?
I think what's probably happened, Brent, is that these kids coming out of high school, they are educated, they are knowledgeable. When I say educated, I'm not meaning formally, but they are aware of what's going on out there, and they know what the reputation of the Pac-12 is.
Right.
And they know that they're not going to be seriously considered, taken seriously as playing a top-level football. Nobody's really talking nationally about the schools that are close to me. Everybody's talking SEC. Everybody's talking Ohio State. Let's look at other options where I'm going to be treated like a star, and there's going to be a lot of attention on me. I think that has something to do with it.
Well, and I'll tell you this too, the guys who have taken advantage of this are like Mario Cristobal at Oregon. Cristobal, obviously, being in Alabama, is a tremendous recruiter, to say the least. And obviously they've got the Nike money out there, but we all get that. But at the same time, they're the schools that have stepped up. And I think some people before this recruiting debacle thought Herm Edwards at Arizona State may be able to do the same thing. But right now, I think you could make a real debate that the two best teams in that conference over the last span of years are Washington and Oregon.
They have been. Washington was Chris Peterson's last few years there. He hands it over to Jimmy Lake. We'll see what Jimmy Lake can do. Of course, he only played 4 games in his first year as head coach, but Mario Cristobal has recruited the best, and he's had the Pac-12 champion now for 2 consecutive years, winning a Rose Bowl 2 years ago. Brent, I don't want to keep you too long, but I am curious to get your thoughts about Herman Edwards. You just brought him up, and here's a guy that I have always been impressed with as an inspirational leader, and to a certain extent, a spiritual leader of sorts, in regards to what he promotes as doing the right things, as a coach, as a citizen, as an athlete. Uh, so when you've been around as long as me, and then you put our ages into context a few minutes ago, so I will say as long as you as well,
Yes.
Brent. You. It's been a long time ago that I was ever surprised about who did
Yeah.
something wrong.
Right. Oh yeah. Yes.
I would like to see and like to know that there are people out there doing the right things for the right reasons. Now, we know that a lot of us do the right things just not to get caught and because of business purposes. Let's do the right thing because we want to make money, but genuinely doing the right things for the right incentives because it is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. He's in a situation where he not only cheats in regards to, and again, I'm going to take the allegations, and we're going to make an assumption that all the stories that we've heard in the reports are true. Okay, and he had knowledge of such. So I'm taking a bit of a leap here. Innocent until proven guilty. But if he did either just have knowledge or was the advocate or the facilitator of all this in regards to having the student athletes on campus, then he does something wrong. And then under conditions, it's somewhat unprecedented because regardless of what you feel about the pandemic, you're putting student athletes in harm's way to a certain extent to bring them on campus when you're not supposed to. So you're gaining that competitive advantage, number one. Number two, you're doing it under adverse conditions. In addition, Brent, as I set up this question, it's a long-winded one, I know, that not only is he in the wrong, but it's just not the risk reward of just having a couple student athletes on campus for a football. Did he really gain that much of a recruiting advantage? It doesn't even make sense. In addition to the morality of it and the ethical misdeed, it just doesn't make sense.
No, it really doesn't. And to me, the other layer of this, to dovetail with what you said, is can he, if he survives this, can he put this back together as far as his staff? To me, one of the real disturbing things about this, his staff turned him in. And when I say staff, I don't mean just his offensive defense coordinator and so forth. As you know, there are hundreds of people in a staff for football. And look, it's obvious that those people people who did that had a real vendetta against Herm Edwards to basically turn him in for this happening. Mark, my question to you is, and we don't know the answer to this right now, is let's say he survives this. Can he rebuild the trust that he lost with and I don't mean just his coaching staff, I mean the periphery of people who are involved with this, who were more, look, Mark, you read the stuff like I did. Man, they were more than happy to turn him in. That's a culture that you're going to have to get everybody on the same page again. And listen, this will take a lot more than a group hug and singing Kumbaya to get this together in this type of situation. Now, things have been very quiet there. We haven't heard anymore. And I'll be quite interested in how they deal with this, because obviously now Pac-12 Media Day is only one day compared to several days with the others. It may also give you an indication of what's going on with that league too. Yes. But the situation here is that's how I saw that was with just how poisoned, can we say, that the atmosphere and the climate is there, that they're trying, that whoever, if he stays or if they bring someone in to replace him, Mark, who is going to be able to put all that together again?